The word on the street is that Tom Holland has finally called out Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively for scheming, yes, scheming to muscle their way into his Spider-Man success. If these whispers are true, we are looking at a scandal that is so massive that it is practically rewriting the Marvel rulebook. If these whispers are true, then we are considering a scandal that is so enormous that it is practically rewriting the Marvel rulebook.
Another bombshell, and this time it is pertaining to the New York Times. Amazing that you're not going to believe this, okay? It looks like Justin Baldoni may have a very strong case against the New York Times. I know for a fact that the mainstream media will lie and they will smear on behalf of their powerful friend. I believe in due process, which is why I always read the facts of the case before accepting the media narrative that they were plotting with the New York Times for months to smear him. And there may be some important evidence. So in Justin Baldoni's lawsuit, he accuses Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively of colluding with the New York Times. Do you guys remember what the article was actually entitled that they actually released on 12/21? We can bury anyone inside a Hollywood smear machine. But they believed her narrative instantly because the allegations were so strong. And I just kind of held fire because I don't trust the New York Times to save my life. Well, she filed a civil rights complaint in Los Angeles, and then within 24 hours, the New York Times had the scoop. They published the complaint in its entirety, and it looked suspicious. If you look at that URL, look at the date on that. 12/16/2024, the New York Times saved this image 4 days before they published the piece. Can you explain why the URL data points to the fact that this was saved under this title on the 16th? That's a problem, my friends, and I cannot believe it. And I am telling you, I have not seen a case so open and shut in my life. And the more that I read and the more details that I get into, I'm just shocked at how many lies were told, okay? This is about that narrative that I think they instantly started spinning. I believe that they are going to be able to prove in court that this was personal Ryan Reynolds versus Justin Baldoni.
Can you believe this still reeling? You're not the only one. Fans worldwide are losing it over rumors that Ryan and Blake pulled all sorts of desperate moves to grab a slice of that box office web. And now Tom, fed up with the behind-the-scenes politics, is allegedly blowing the lid off their entire operation. Buckle up, because this ride is about to get wild before we tackle the alleged infiltration attempt. Allow me to take you back in time, Ms., and tell you about how Tom Holland went from being a bright-eyed novice to becoming the unstoppable force that we know as Spider-Man. The young man from Billy Elliot fame became the face of an entire generation almost overnight. People saw his athletic flips, his genuine smile, and they couldn't get enough of him. Marvel Studios almost staked the future of their franchise on him, and the gamble paid off big time. However, popularity comes with a price. According to the rumors, Hollywood heavyweights have begun to take notice of Tom's meteoric rise. As a result of envy, a number of actors who had previously dominated the box office found themselves overshadowed by this unexpected champion. They were furious, and the question that was on everyone's mind was who in Hollywood might have felt threatened enough to go after Tom's spotlight. Cue Ryan Reynolds stepping in, and what happened next would shock everyone. We all know Ryan Reynolds as the wisecracking fourth wall-breaking Deadpool who charmed us with comedic genius. But as soon as Tom's Spider-Man soared to stratospheric success, rumors started swirling that Ryan wanted a significant slice of that MCU synergy pie. Allegedly, he hustled behind the scenes, pressing Marvel to throw Deadpool into the next Spider-Man flick. Why not leverage that combined star power? Seems like a win-win until it clashed with studio strategies. Insiders claimed that Ryan got downright furious when Marvel brass insisted that Tom's web-slinger remained the shining beacon for a younger audience separate from Deadpool's snark and R-rated tone. The rumor, not only did Ryan not just accept the offer, but he also tried everything from calling in favors to executing hilarious pranks in order to overshadow Tom's next move. If that isn't a sign of desperation, I don't know what is, but that wasn't the whole story. Never underestimate the power pair dynamic. According to hush speculation circulating in Hollywood, according to the rumor mill, Blake Lively was anything but passive behind closed doors. According to the rumor mill, she reached out to her own high-profile network studio heads, brand ambassadors, and anyone else you can think of in order to ensure that they recognize the value of uniting Deadpool with Spider-Man. On the surface, Blake Lively appears to be a graceful fashion star and a doting mother. However, behind closed doors, she was anything but passive. Some insiders indicate that when those attempts struck a wall, emotions soared to new heights. We're talking meltdown moments in hush-hush Hollywood offices, frantic phone calls, and emotional appeals to get this synergy off the ground. The lengths they purportedly went to overshadow Tom's brand. Let's just say the word entitled is reverberating through some areas of the industry, and it only gets more twisted from there after word started circulating that Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively were on a mission. You better know the Marvel family had something to say. Reportedly, Chris Hemsworth, ever the jovial Norse god, joked about how the true war was between these classic suits backstage. Some say Chris Evans took Tom's side, quietly giving him moral support when the tension was palpable. Meanwhile, fans have speculated that Robert Downey Jr. might have offered professional advice to keep Tom grounded in the midst of swirling rumors. As these stories spread, it painted a picture of a cast feeling torn between comedic brand synergy and the well-loved innocence of Spider-Man. Suddenly, private group chats and off-the-record gatherings became hotbeds of gossip. Who was truly in Tom's corner and who was secretly rooting for a crossover that might overshadow the webhead? But hold on, there's even more under the surface. Here's where things take a truly scandalous turn. Unconfirmed leaks suggest that somewhere out there are voicemails from Ryan Reynolds venting his frustrations about Tom's unstoppable popularity. The audio, if real, apparently revealed, feels a man at his wits' end, borderline outrage that studios refuse to bend to his vision. Allegedly, you can hear him calling the situation ridiculous and urging top execs to consider the money they're leaving on the table. If that doesn't make your jaw drop, certain rumor chasers claim text message exchanges also surfaced again, entirely unverified, showing Blake Lively's involvement. The messages reportedly could as an orchestrated plan to angle for creative control. All conjecture, of course, but the significance of these alleged receipts has followers on social media fanning the flames. May we be on the verge of a catastrophic PR fiasco for Ryan and Blake? But guess what? The drama only escalates from here. Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively have long kept a squeaky clean public persona. Flirty banter, humanitarian gestures, funny jabs at each other on social media. They come across as the ultimate power couple, but these rumors paint a drastically different picture, one of behind-the-scenes plotting, manipulation, and maybe even a dash of entitlement. Meanwhile, Tom Holland, who's typically so polite he apologizes at the slightest inconvenience, allegedly found himself floored by these covert moves. Did he confide in co-stars, or is he quietly letting his frustrations simmer? Online fan communities are fiercely debating whether this friction explains certain cryptic remarks Tom made about how tough it can be to navigate Hollywood politics. People want to know, is this the hidden cost of playing an iconic role? But hold on to your seats, things are about to get even hotter. Word on the grapevine says Tom Holland finally snapped, not in public, not on stage, not during some red carpet, but behind closed doors where real Hollywood drama brews. After allegedly enduring months, maybe even years of subtle sabotage, quiet manipulation, and relentless pressure from Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively, insiders say Tom reached a breaking point. This wasn't just about one disagreement. This was the slow burn of instant meddling, of seeing projects shift, of feeling the heat from people who were supposed to be allies in the Marvel Universe. Allegedly, Tom grew so frustrated with the back-channel politics that he began threatening to expose the whole ordeal. And this wasn't an idle threat. We're talking messages, emails, possibly even recorded calls. Sources claim Tom had the receipts, or at the very least knew where the bodies were buried. Figuratively speaking, he allegedly warned higher-ups at Marvel and Sony that if things didn't calm down, he'd walk away from the franchise entirely. Imagine that, Spider-Man quitting Spider-Man because of Ryan Reynolds' alleged ego trip. Others whisper that Tom may have gone directly to Ryan and Blake to face a showdown at some private industry event, a heated call between reps. We don't know the exact scene, but the alleged confrontation has taken on legendary status in fan forums. Sources close to the situation say Tom didn't hold back, allegedly asking the couple to stop using his name and career as leverage for their personal cross-brand empire. And let's be real, Marvel exec must have been panicking. Tom is a billion-dollar face. Losing him would have meant total chaos. Picture the headlines, picture the fan outrage, picture the MCU collapsing under the weight of one actor's fed-up decision. Whether the receipts exist or not, the mere idea that Tom could air dirty laundry was supposedly enough to send shockwaves through Disney boardrooms. One anonymous insider even stated that execs were briefed to de-escalate tensions before the press got wind of it. If that's not damage control mode, what is? But the truth is, by that point it may have been too late. The cracks were already showing, and the fallout was inevitable. And as the dust settled, it wasn't just a private feud anymore, it was an industry-wide buzzfest. When something like this goes down in Hollywood, it never stays quiet for long. By the time reports started spreading about the purported dispute between Tom Holland and the Reynolds Lively power couple, the industry was already bracing for impact. Producers, PR team, studio heads, everyone started whispering the same thing: ego run amok. One top executive reportedly described the situation as two empires clashing over one crown, with Spider-Man caught in the middle. The timing couldn't have been worse. Future crossover plans, especially anything involving Deadpool, Spider-Man, and the broader multiverse, were allegedly put on indefinite hold. Some contracts that were in pre-negotiation stages hit pause. Why? Because nobody wanted to touch the drama. Ryan and Blake's image, previously polished to perfection, had purportedly suffered a hit, and for Tom the perception was evolving. He was no longer simply Marvel's friendly neighborhood star, he was the center of a storm. Meantime, the talk show circuit got tense. Ryan was noticeably vague whenever Spider-Man was brought up. Blake canceled one podcast appearance with short notice, allegedly due to scheduling conflicts, but insiders say it was to avoid uncomfortable questions. Teams were reportedly working overtime to keep things clean, but the internet wasn't buying it. And then came the fans' team. Tom started trending within hours of the first leaks, hitting Reddit and blind gossip sites. Twitter, TikTok, and YouTube lit up with fan theories, side-by-side clips, and timelines of the claimed feud. People pointed on every micro-expression in interviews, every red carpet glance, every subtle word. Some even unearthed a moment during a previous press tour where Tom looked visibly uncomfortable after Ryan hijacked a question meant for him. The narrative was being built brick by brick, and it wasn't flattering to the Reynolds Lively brand. Others took Ryan's side, arguing that all he wanted was good storytelling, that his idea of Deadpool meeting Spider-Man would have made cinematic history. But even those voices got quieter as rumors of manipulation, secret power plays, and behind-the-scenes drama piled up. What sealed the shift in tone, though, was the alleged Blake Lively meltdown. Some claimed she was spotted storming out of a Heil meeting in tears. Others say she was heard shouting over the phone about people forgetting who built the brand. Again, unconfirmed, but enough to get the gossip machine in overdrive. Within the industry, conversations took a darker turn. Certain directors allegedly started steering clear of pairing Ryan or Blake with younger stars, afraid of more tension. Some studio execs began reevaluating their power couple package deals. It was no longer just about one feud, it was about reputations, who could be trusted, who was playing fair, who was getting too big for the ensemble game that made the MCU thrive. And perhaps most ironic of all, the whole ordeal seemed to elevate Tom even higher. Public sympathy swayed his upway. Brands leaned into his wholesome image. Rumors of Oscar bait projects started swirling, and Marvel, they doubled down on keeping Tom in the loop. Solo movies, spin-offs, even rumored producer credits. So now the entertainment world waits for someone to break their silence. Waits for a leaked screenshot, a cryptic Instagram post, or a no comment that says everything. One thing is certain: the damage is done, and in a town built on image, that kind of scar doesn't fade easily. So who's going to cave first? Because one more crack, one more leak, and this whole power struggle could explode all over again. So here we are. Tom Holland allegedly stands at the crossroads of a Hollywood showdown, having apparently revealed the lengths Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively went to usurp his reign as Spider-Man. Are these rumors just overblown hype, or is there genuine fire behind all that smoke? For now, the lines are drawn. Fans are glued to every possible leak, tweet, and interview slip-up that might confirm their suspicions. One thing's for certain: if even half of these allegations prove true, Ryan and Blake's carefully sculpted public image could be in for a monumental shakeup, and Tom, once the happy-go-lucky newbie, might actually emerge as the unstoppable force in this bizarre war. What's your take? Has Tom Holland truly unmasked a cunning scheme, or is this all just a swirl of sensational gossip? The clock's ticking, folks. Keep your eyes peeled, because in Hollywood, the truth has a funny way of crashing into the spotlight, and believe me, when it does, it's going to make every twist and turn we've dissected here look tame by comparison. Stay tuned, because this might only be the